She actually had a fantastic story. Her father works in Nigeria in an international steel manufacturing company. We're a multi-ethnic, multinational campus.
Is there any scholarships or financial aids in place that students can apply for?
We have a scholarship on campus that we call You Are Welcome Here.
If I'm an international student wanting to pursue global business management at CSUSM, what advice would you have for me?
Business is always very popular. We offer 9 different concentrations in business. We're not talking about a business school case study. We're talking about a company that will come to us and say, here is a specific problem I have.
Really?
Oh yes, this is a problem I have that I'm trying to find a solution. We put together a team of students that will work with these companies: Qualcomm, Pfizer, Thermo Fisher Scientific, Viasat, Kimberly-Clark. We have students who work there. They are changing not just jobs, but changing entire careers, because that foundation that they have allow them to change from internship straight into employment with that company.
Welcome to On Spotlight, a podcast series where we shed some light on your foreign education queries. Hi, I'm Jwalin Rao, Director at Rao Consultants. Over the years, we've been privileged to walk alongside students as they navigate their study abroad journey, facing questions, excitement, and sometimes uncertainty. That's why we're launching On Spotlight, a podcast where we'll talk with universities, industry experts, and inspiring alumni who are going to share their stories and advices that can help you make informed choices about your future. So we have Dr. Geoffrey Gibbison with us today. He has been a professor of economics for 25 years now, I believe.
That's correct.
And he currently plays the role of Dean and Associate Vice President at CSUSM. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Geoffrey. So I think we should start by talking about the recent Wall Street Journal, which placed CSUSM at 97th amongst the top educational institutes in the US. What do you think went into making this happen?
Absolutely. So we are a university that's very student focused. We're a university that focuses a lot on making sure that our students are ready for career. And also, we're extremely affordable. And you'll hear more about this in the conversation, I think.
Correct.
Our affordability combined with our career focus, combined with our industry partnerships or connections to industry, which provides the opportunity for students to have successful careers. I think all of those things sort of add into that ranking.
What do you think was one thing that you would vouch for that made CSUSM stand out, and maybe which was the biggest contributing factor for this ranking?
Right. I would say that, most of our students, 80% or so of our students, find employment within 160 kilometer radius of campus.
Oh, wow.
So that is quite extraordinary. Most of the times when you finish university in the United States, you have to move sometimes to a different state in order to find your long-term career. That's not the case with us. That is because we're located in this very vibrant employment center. And because we have that partnership with our industry around us, that allows our students to find strong employment opportunities locally.
So where exactly is the campus in San Marcos, and where would you say San Marcos is for somebody,
who is trying to figure out where this
Correct.
is? So we're in San Diego County.
Okay.
San Diego is one of the southernmost counties in California, meaning that if you go south of San Diego, you're in Mexico. And the city of San Diego is in the southern part of the county.
Okay.
Cal State San Marcos is located in the northern part of the county. We're about 50 kilometers from the city of San Diego.
Okay.
So maybe, we tell distance in the United States in minutes.
Miles. Minutes.
Yes, we use minutes to do our distances. So it's about a 35 to 45 minute drive depending on the traffic conditions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I would say we're also southeast of LA, maybe an hour and 45 minutes southeast of LA.
You see, that's funny because it's tough to tell distance in minutes over here. Because
Right.
30 minutes and you might have moved 2 inches, like you've
Right.
experienced in your journey so far. So for people that don't know, I think you've been in India for 2 weeks now. You've been
Yes.
connecting with students. You've been going from city to city.
Yes.
And I'm sure it would have been quite the experience exploring. So let's go back to the rankings. I'm sure there would be a lot of factors, contributing factors, but I want to talk more about student diversity.
Right.
So what are some of the things that CSUSM does to get international student diaspora for their campus, and what are some of the things you do for these international students?
So I'll start by saying that one of our hallmarks, one of our main responsibilities on campus is our diversity. We take our diversity very seriously. We're a multi-ethnic, multinational campus. When you come to campus, you'll be able to see students from all over the globe and from all over the United States, and every ethnic group is represented on campus. For us, that means that we have to be very welcoming to everybody. We take that very seriously to welcome all students on campus. We hire international students in our global office to actually help to onboard new international students.
Oh, wow.
So that we make sure we help them find their place on campus, sometimes help with housing challenges if they're having challenges with housing. So we help to onboard students so that they feel comfortable, that they're in an environment that welcomes them. Then my office organizes every month what we call International Conversation Hour. So we have an international coffee hour every month. We invite all the international students. We invite domestic students, faculty, and staff, so that the students are interacting with everybody on campus. We have many clubs on campus, many organizations. International Students Organization. There's a French club. There's a whatever your affinity, whatever your affiliation is. There's probably a club on campus that is devoted to your particular affinity. And we even have an International Faculty and Staff Association. So we do events that include students. We have an International Week where we then invite the international students to showcase their culture on campus. That is one of our signature events. It's a big deal where students, sometimes they're showcasing traditional wear from their campus, traditional foods from their campus. So this is really meant to sort of get the campus, give the campus a sort of a showcase of your country. So that's and we also have a lot of faculty on campus who are international, a lot of staff on campus who are international. So that's another component of our diversity on the campus, and we then make sure that those faculty members and staff members are interacting with students so that the students can feel comfortable.
And I would like to think that a lot of times diversity is not something that is given enough credit.
Right.
It is from an international student's perspective, it is the amount of exposure you get from all of these different cultures, people coming from different values, a lot of learning, I'd like to think.
Absolutely. And I also say one last thing. We also want our students to experience the diversity of that international students bring. That's one of the biggest values to the campus of having international students, is that our domestic students also get to interact with a new culture, get to understand somebody who you have not met before, and maybe change a perspective you might have had that might have been incorrect or misperceived. But by talking to somebody from a different country, you get a better understanding of their culture.
True. So I just realized as I was reading the questions, it's sort of become a tradition at this point that I've been asking about what are the core values of your institute. And I think for CSUSM, it is what you call the culture of care.
Yes.
How would you put that? How if you could talk a little bit about that.
Right. So what we mean by culture of care is ensuring that each person's well-being is being taken care of. That no student or faculty or staff member is being neglected in any way.
Okay.
So, in a practical way, what that means is that we have offices on campus where if a student is experiencing any difficulty, whether it's emotional difficulty, if it's financial difficulty, we have offices that they can reach out to and basically say, I'm having this issue, where can I find help? And the job of the people in those offices is to help the student find help, to navigate them to where help is.
And you really appreciate it when you actually need all of this support.
Yes.
Okay, what are some of the things that you would say you do for students? What are some of the things in context to culture of care you do for students wanting to enroll or are in the enrollment process before they start, their studies?
So once a student is accepted, in my office, we have a team who then will reach out to the student, explain all the various steps, housing, all the things that you need to take care of, right? You need to have a place to live and so on. So my team will walk the students through that process. My team actually also work with the academic departments to make sure that we're reserving classes for students. So we know especially for our first year undergraduate students, they need to take certain curriculum in the first year. They are not on campus or close by so that they can register themselves, or they may not have the right permissions to access the system to register themselves. So my staff make sure that we're holding certain amount of seats for these students so that when they come, they're not struggling to find places to enroll. We also have in our housing department a staff member who helps students with navigating housing in the community. So some students live on campus, some students don't. There's a lot of opportunity to live off campus. But again, if you're not there might be a bit of a challenge. So we have a staff member in the housing department that helps to navigate the housing along with students before they even get to campus.
Which is really interesting to me, because that is a question that students are usually confused about, or that is a fear maybe parents would have for the kids. I think we should dive right in and get into the academics. So what are some of the domains, or what are the fields of study that you have at CSUSM?
So I would say some of the fields that are most interesting to international students, computer science, as usual, and IT, very interesting. I mean, for undergraduates, we have software engineering, electrical engineering, and computer engineering, along with computer science and IT. Business is always very popular. We offer 9 different concentrations in business, including business analytics, which is a STEM-focused concentration. Biotechnology is a kind of an unusual program. Most universities do not have academic programs in biotechnology. We offer both a master's and a bachelor's in biotechnology. And the reason for that is San Diego has a massive biotechnology cluster. So there are many, many large companies that are doing research in various aspects of biotechnology. Those companies are partners. They help with our students. They help with the internships. They help with the curriculum. And so there are a number of students who are interested in that. Public health is also another area that has seen a lot of interest from international students.
Okay, if you could maybe chronologically rank top 5 programs popular amongst international students, what would they be?
I would say number 1, computer science and other IT related. I would say number 2, business and anything related to business. I would say probably biotechnology is number 3.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely. Biotechnology would probably be number 3. Public health at the master's level is probably number 4. And I would say number 5 would be, that's hard. I can't actually think quickly of number 5. Those are the top 4. What would be, I can't think of what number 5 would be.
So, like you said, with biotechnology, you partnered with a lot of companies in the area. What are the other programs, or what are the most popular programs for which you get the highest placement ratios?
Right. It's good, great question.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say all of those programs that I mentioned have really fantastic placements.
Right.
There's a reason for that. All of those programs have some sort of project in them. The students, where we consider ourselves an experiential learning campus. What that means is that our students do their textbook learning, but they have to also do applied projects.
Right.
All of these programs I mentioned have some kind of applied project.
Okay.
And that those applied projects are generally coming to us from industry. So
Okay.
the applied projects are usually not a textbook. We're not talking about a business school case study. We're talking about a company that will come to us and say, here is a specific problem I have.
Really?
Oh yes, this is a problem I have that I'm trying to find a solution. We put together a team of students that will work with this company. So they would assign a company executive.
Uh-huh.
We would assign a faculty member, and then the team of students will work with them through the semester and create the solution that they're looking for, and then present the solution to the executives in the company.
I cannot think of a better way to, study business.
Yes.
That is really interesting. I did not know that.
Yes, and in fact, this is a requirement to earn your business degree. So this is not a side project. This is not. This is
Oh,
is a
wow.
core requirement. You cannot earn your business degree without doing this work.
Interesting. So if you could name some of the popular brands that a lot of CSUSM students end up in.
Right. So great question. I'll start with maybe technology. So Qualcomm is a name that many of your students would recognize.
Correct.
It's a big technology company.
Correct.
We have students who work there. There are, Thermo Fisher Scientific is a big biotechnology firm. Pfizer, big pharmaceutical companies. We have students who are working in those areas. There's a company called Kimberly-Clark, which is probably not recognized by your students, but they do a lot of different range of household products. So cleaning products, baby diapers, all the way to
wow.
foods. And we have students who are working in those in that company. Viasat, which is a global, they do satellite internet. We have students who work for Viasat. Very often, if you're on a plane, next time you're on a flight and you connect to Wi-Fi, Viasat probably is part of that. They probably have something to do with that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Our students work for that. In fact, Viasat has also funded some of our programs on campus to get them started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's say if I was an international student wanting to pursue business management undergraduate in the US, what do you think are some of the key factors I should be looking at when choosing my program and when choosing my university?
So I would say it's always good to know where do I have an idea where I want to be in business, right? Do I want to be in global business? Do I want to be in supply chain and logistics? Those things are done differently at different institutions. Do I want to go into business analytics? Again, those things are done differently at different institutions, and there are different employment clusters in different areas of the country. So you need to know, where do I want to be in the United States? What do I have an industry in mind, and do I have a sector in mind? But beyond that, I think students shouldn't overthink it.
Okay.
Business is a program that gets you into many different professions.
Correct.
And also in the United States, especially for undergraduate, we have this broad undergraduate education. So every student has to start out doing what we call general education. So they're doing a little bit of social sciences, they're doing a little bit of humanities, they're doing a little bit of mathematics, etc., as part of general education.
Which is something that we don't have here.
Which is something that you don't have here. And that broad education then gives them the foundation to change careers over time. So the average person in the US probably change careers 7, 8, 9 times. They are changing not just jobs, but changing entire careers, because that foundation that they have allow them to change the industry, change careers, and so forth.
Then
So
it helps them make informed decisions.
Exactly.
Because how am I supposed to choose something when I don't know about
well,
it?
exactly. So, and it also it gives you that critical thinking, right? That you need. Also, part of what we do in the United States is that we focus on building your communication skills. We focus on helping you network, and your communication skills are critical in the US because each person is expected to be their own marketer. Each person is expected to tell their own story. And so having that confidence and having the language to communicate what you can do for a company is critical as you try to move from industry to industry.
Very rightly said. I completely agree. Okay, now let's talk in the same lines. But let's say if I'm an international student wanting to pursue global business management at CSUSM, what advice would you have for me?
Yes, so I would say any business student, if you have never done like a statistics course, we will teach you statistics, but maybe go on Coursera and start reviewing a little bit of statistics. If you want to be in global business, actually for an international student, this is really fantastic because you already have another language. So one of the things that we do with our domestic students is that we want them to pursue another language, because global business by its very nature means you could be doing business with somebody in a different culture. And international students are already coming with the language. They're coming with cultural knowledge from a different culture that would allow them to be an asset to a company that is wanting to do business with their culture that they're coming from, or in the language that they're coming from. So they're already coming with that strong asset of their language and their culture. So that's the first thing I would say. Second thing I would say is, like I said before, as you're thinking about this, know why you want to do it. Don't just say, I'm picking global business because it sounds good. I met a student recently who said she wants to do global business. And I kept asking her, why?
Why?
Tell me about it. And it took me a minute to really pull it out of her. She actually had a fantastic story. She just wasn't confident in saying it. Her father works, she's Indian. Her father works in Nigeria in an international steel manufacturing company. That was her influence and her inspiration for wanting to study global business, but didn't have the confidence to say it. So what I'm trying to say is, think about why you want to do this, create the narrative in your head, and be willing to just say why I want to do this. And when you get to campus, or you get to any campus in the United States, not just my campus, feel confident to talk with your professors and say to them, this is my interest. This is what I'd like to do. Can you help guide me? Do you think I'm on the right path? Help me think about what the right path should be for me. It's perfectly okay to ask for that sort of assistance in our system.
Wow, that really that. So you framed it really well, and it has been put into steps that students should be following. Okay, so U.S. education is generally considered expensive. Is there any scholarships or financial aids in place that students can apply for?
Right. So first, I will say that true, but within the Cal State system, our tuition is generally quite affordable, even for international students. The reason for that is we're a public institution, we're a state school, and because we're state supported, that allows us to maintain our low tuition for international students. At my university, we have a scholarship that generally students are able to access starting in year 2.
Okay.
So it's based upon their performance in the first year.
Okay.
The stronger you perform in the first year, the better your chances of accessing that scholarship in the second year
Okay.
for undergrad. And that stays in place in year 3 and year 4 as long as you maintain your grades. So we encourage students to, be very focused in your first year, do well. That opens up funding for you in your second year. We have a scholarship on campus that we call You Are Welcome Here.
Really?
Yes, and there's an essay required. Students need to do brief essay, but there's some specific requirements. The requirements are on our website. So just make sure you write a careful letter, explain the points that they're asking you to explain, and that could also open up, and that's available in the first year. So that
Okay.
could open up a scholarship opportunity for students in
Oh,
their
wow.
first year.
You are welcome here.
Yes.
That is okay.
That tells you everything, doesn't it?
It
Right.
does. It does. Okay. So like you said, you have a really low tuition cost, and I was recently reading an article that CSUSM ranked 13 amongst 1182 institutes in terms of the student success against the tuition cost.
Right.
What, and I think this is an old article. I think you may have more recent numbers, but what do you think is the contributing factor for such a high or such a balanced ratio?
Right. It's a couple of things. The first is, as you mentioned, the very, very modest tuition cost, right? So we're able to get a student their 4-year degree at a very modest cost, or their master's degree at a very modest cost.
Okay.
Second is that we focus a lot on student success. So what we mean by that is we try to focus on every little aspect of how do you get placed. We focus on making sure students understand how to network. We have a career center on campus. That career center helps students find internships along the way, and internships are critical in terms of getting your long-term placement because you're getting some experience, but also companies are getting a chance to look at you, see your profile, see your work. Most of our programs, some of our programs even go as far as ensuring you have a LinkedIn profile. These days, a lot of companies, when they're looking for employees, their bot will go out and scrape LinkedIn and look at profiles and decide, do I want to reach out to this student or not, or this student or not, or Monster, Indeed, all of these things are important. There are several of our programs where the first day of class, they'll ask you, do you have a LinkedIn profile? If it's no, then one of your projects this semester is you will build a LinkedIn profile. And if you have a LinkedIn profile, one of your projects this semester is how do you make that profile better? So every little small detail that goes into the job search is there. We also have offices that focus on your resume writing, because resume styles are different in different countries. So making sure that your resume is well written, your cover letter is well written, and so forth. All of these aspects matter. But another aspect I should mention is our faculty members, our professors, all have strong industry connections. And they're able to then bring the companies into campus so that the students are getting a chance to network with the companies. And the last thing I'll mention is, as I said earlier, our curriculum is influenced by the industries around. So we are not just, say, do this program or that program. Usually every program has, and I shouldn't say every, many of our programs have what we call an advisory council. And the advisory council is made up of industry folks.
Right.
So they will look at the curriculum and they will tell us, you're missing this thing from the profile of the students, or you're missing a critical part. This is the new trend in our profession or in our industry that's not yet built into the curriculum. Then we will modify the curriculum to ensure that whatever that new information they're bringing to us, we're reflecting it in the curriculum. Those things translate into students being successful in the marketplace.
So the curriculum updation is something I want to talk about, but we'll get to that later on. So you said there's a lot of things that go into helping the student with their career advice and then helping them with the job placements. If you could share one prime example, maybe a student that you may have taught or may have been in connect with, who you think would have set a benchmark for other students,
Right.
or could be an inspiration for other students?
Right. I have a very recent example.
Okay.
We had a student who, she is an international student.
Okay.
She's from Taiwan. She was a student in our Masters in Biotechnology program.
Mm-hmm.
On our campus, we have 4 biotechnology companies that operate from one of our labs. So they're renting space in one of our labs to do their research for their company.
Right.
The student did her semester in residence or her practicum with one of these companies. And they were so impressed with her work, so she finished her degree in May. And on June 1st, she was a permanent employee of the company.
Oh, wow.
So she moved from internship straight into employment with that company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what that is quite possible on our campus.
Are you still in connect with a lot of your alumni? Do you network with students you might have taught, or who might have been in connect with you while they were at CSUSM?
So not me personally. I don't do much teaching anymore. But the campus has a good alumni office, and that office is responsible for keeping up with our alumni globally. In fact, we have had alumni showcases in Tokyo, for example.
Oh, wow.
So we keep up with our alumni. I went to Saudi Arabia a year and a half ago, and while I was there, I met with one of our alumni. She actually spent a whole afternoon with me, showing me around Jeddah on the Red Sea. She was a student in our biotechnology program as well, and then after she graduated, she ended up working for Merck. She works for Merck in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. That same trip into Saudi Arabia, the U.S. consulate had put together an alumni networking session for me. So they had invited a number of our alumni from around Saudi Arabia. So I was able to meet with them at the U.S. consulate in Dammam, Saudi Arabia. So wherever we go around the world, we try to reach out. We leverage the connection of the U.S. Embassy or something with the State Department. We leverage that connection and try to strengthen our connections with our alumni.
Do you think your alumni play a role with helping new coming students out in terms of what they should be doing? Is that something that...
Yes, in fact, when we invite company executives to campus all the time, and very often we try to find our alumni first. So if our alumni has a leadership role in those companies, we want to make sure that the person who's coming to campus to talk to our students can also say, "Oh, I know because I graduated from here."
Right.
We just put together a new strategic plan for our academics, and we actually did an alumni panel. So we invited alumni from around the country to then talk with us about their experience, tell us what part of the curriculum they liked, what part of the curriculum they didn't like. There were 2 of the students on that panel. One is a student from India who is working in San Francisco. One was a student from China who is working in Boston.
Okay.
So again, whether it's the curriculum or the student experience, we very often will go survey our alumni and get their feedback. And we try very often to get them together with our students so that they can provide mentorship for our students.
And these are the best people to take advice
Exactly.
from.
Yes, they know better.
So I want to talk about the campus, but before that, I want to understand, what is the mascot?
Yes, so we're the Cougars.
Is that not more like an Illinois thing? Is that...
No. There are many Cougars in the United States. The colleges in the United States have this obsession with mascots that are aggressive. Now, the cougar is kind of not just aggressive, but also kind of a stealthy animal. So we're the Cougars, and in the mountains around us, mountain lions are in California, and
Right.
so it makes sense that that would be reflected on our campus.
What are some of the other mascots that you have in your region?
So yes, cougars are popular. Lions, tigers are popular. Let's see. The rooster. The roosters are
How
popular.
how is rooster something you can term aggressive?
Roosters can be very aggressive. They have those
Really?
big spurs, when they do. So they can be. Eagles are popular.
Correct.
Hawks are popular. So any sort of animal that's a little bit maybe aggressive is.
Would you say every third institute in the US has cougar as a mascot?
It's very popular. It's either cougar or eagle. Cougars, I would say maybe cougars and eagles are probably the two most popular.
Maybe 80% of institutes would be one of these
And
two.
eagles are popular too, because of course, the American, the symbol of the United States, of course, is the eagle. So that's a very popular one as well. Yes.
Okay. So we talked about academics. We talked about a lot of things. Now, if you had to describe the campus in one line, how would you do it?
If it was one line, I would have to say welcoming.
Okay.
Welcoming. It's very much a welcoming place. Every office, every staff, every student really tries to make sure that everybody feels at home on our campus.
Okay, and what are some of the popular attraction or key spots?
Yes.
And which one is your favorite?
Well, the beach is, so I'll start by saying I'm a mountain person. I grew up in the mountains, so I am biased. So I'll start with the beach because I'm
you have beach and the mountains. So you
so
both
we have
things.
both, right? So in San Marcos, we have both of these things. The beach is about 20 minutes away from campus. We have a train, actually, that stops on campus that can take you out to the beach. We have both bus and train that stop on campus.
So it's like a metro station in the campus?
On the campus, right.
Okay.
So the train stops on campus and the bus actually comes through campus every couple of minutes. And the students, regardless of where you live, you buy one pass, and that one pass gives you unlimited ride on the bus and the train for the semester. So you buy one pass for the semester, it's unlimited ride on the bus and the train.
And then this, so the routes probably cover the entire San Marcos?
The routes cover the city, the routes cover where grocery stores are, the places that students would need to be. So both of those things are available. Beach, mountains, hiking is very popular. In fact, right behind the campus, there are two big hills. And
if I'm not wrong, you're somebody who goes hiking every morning?
I am very much a hiker, yes. Yes.
So you go running every morning?
I go running, yes, not hike. I run very often, yes.
Oh wow.
I'm very big in running. Surfing is a big, if you're a surfer, the Pacific Coast is well known for its surfing.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's a big deal. And then in the wintertime, in the eastern part of the county, you can actually get up to about 2,000 meters, and there is snow in the winter. So snowboarding and skiing is popular in the winter.
And I want to understand more about the inside of the campus. So what is the infra like? What are the classes like? Classrooms like?
Right. So most of our classes are small.
Okay.
35 to 40 people, maybe the biggest sort of classrooms we have. So we keep everything intimate.
It makes sense to have fewer students so that faculty can interact.
Right. Very intimate. Lots of labs, computer labs, science labs. All of these things are accessible to students. The library is actually a hub for people to get together. So a lot of students come to the library to study, to use a computer, to hang out. It's sort of the center of our campus. And in between classes, you'll see students going to Starbucks, getting a coffee, and then hanging out at the library. Or the library actually has these little rooms. So if you want to study, you can book a study room, or if you want to work on a project with a friend, you can just book a room, and then, when you book the room...
So you have a VIP section in the library.
Right, yeah. You can book your own study space in the library as well.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So, and all of these spaces, there are all of these kinds of spaces available for students so that they can do their studies or hang out. In fact, even students who are veterans, like U.S. military veterans, they have their own space on campus.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of these, dedicated spaces for so that students can, feel comfortable and do what they want to do.
And it's
The-
always fun to hop around while you're studying.
Exactly.
It makes you. I used to do that.
Like, lots of food options as well. Lots of vegetarian and vegan options in our
Oh, wow.
cafeterias. And then the other thing I'll mention about campus is we're located on the side of a hill. So we sometimes call it Cal State Stairmaster.
Come again?
We often refer to campus as Cal State Stairmaster.
Okay.
Because usually if you're going from the bottom of campus to the top of campus, you will
Exhausting.
have to climb stairs probably 4 to 6 to 8 times.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's a very steep campus. So, if you're into your exercise and getting your steps in per day,
Keeps you fit.
and that is taken care of.
Okay. What are some of the engagement or educative activities or sessions that happen on the campus, keeping the international students in mind?
Right. We have, as I mentioned, we do our international conversation hour each month. This is just to get international students together so they get to meet each other, meet other students. Often students who are members, we have like an international club, and which is both international and domestic students. Students who are doing global studies, political science, many of those students, or students who are studying languages, will join the international club. So in the international club, you'll find both domestic and international students.
And would you say these clubs are so? I think you already said that these clubs are often run by international students.
Oh yes. Student they can create their own clubs. So we have that. There's other activities organized. We have an international faculty and staff association. They organize activities as well and invite students to those activities. Some of our students who are on campus may be doing what we call homestay, so they might be living with a family. We organize events around that. We invite international students to participate in local events in the city, so not just on campus but in the city. We invite them to participate. Sometimes we invite them to volunteer for activities in the city. Most international students probably have met the mayor, because we would have invited the mayor of the city to an event on campus so that she could meet international students as well. So we are very much focused on making sure that everybody's integrated and that the students feel
The culture of care.
exactly, make sure that the students feel comfortable.
Okay. What would you say is CSUSM's vision for the next 5 years in terms of evolving the education or the curriculum? So I believe you mentioned that you have a lot of these companies that come in and pitch in ideas, and you evolve your curriculum that way.
Right.
But if you could talk more about this, and maybe in the lines of technology, how evolving technology is evolving your curriculum right now.
Right. We have there are a couple of programs we're working on, new degree offerings.
Right.
One of them is we're working on a master's in global supply chain management. Actually, I think it's going to be called Global Supply Chain Analytics. This will be a new master's degree that will be available in the next 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
It's very interesting the way you phrase the question, because that program was funded. The funds to sort of get the program developed came from industry. Industry came to
Really?
us and said, "Oh, we're looking for people with this profile, and then here is some cash to spend the time to do the research, to put the program together." So even that came through our industry connection, who came to us and say, "We will fund you putting this program together."
I find these things really interesting because in India you would not often find, or Ahmedabad specifically, you would not often find universities and colleges having a lot of papers being published,
Right.
research papers. And so for you guys, it's industries coming in and paying or sponsoring research happening.
Yes, absolutely. we really try to intentionally keep that bond together. We are also working on a master's in business analytics. We have a bachelor's degree in business analytics. We have business analytics as a focus area in our MBA right now, but we're creating a separate Master of Science in Business Analytics that will be available in the next 2 to 3 years as well.
Oh, wow.
And then the other one that we're focusing on, we're working on creating a new bachelor's and master's in data science. Again, areas where technology and statistics come together, where there are lots of jobs where they're looking for students who have the statistical skills, analytical skills, and the applied experience to solve company problems. We know how much big data is driving everything. We know how much lots of companies have data that they don't know what to do with. They have more data than they have information. And data is not information, and data is not strategy until you can analyze it. And so we are working on those programs. Will be available in the next 2 to 3 years.
Wow. Okay. So how do you see the international student population evolving in the future? Do you see so compared to right now, how do you see the groups of or the ethnic groups, or maybe
Right.
the nationalities? How do you see them evolving in the coming future?
Right. It's a great question. We try very hard to make sure we have a diverse, profile of international students. We want to make sure that the students reflect a broad range of countries.
Right.
But we also know that there is a definite increase in the number of undergraduate students coming out of India.
Okay.
And so we're paying attention to that. We want to make sure that we are at the forefront of serving those students' needs. It used to be, for example, that the undergraduate student body had more Chinese students. Now there are fewer Chinese in undergraduate and more Indians in undergraduate. That's okay. My job is to think like a business person and then understand where the market is going and pivot to where the market is going. We are also having more students coming out of, say maybe Bangladesh, maybe Indonesia, and so on. And we're also recruiting those students. We're also focusing a little bit on, say, North Africa and the Middle East.
Okay.
Those two areas have been very good areas for recruitment for us over the years. We have had lots of different collaborations. There are lots of government sponsorships in those areas.
Correct.
And
for the education.
For the education, exactly. And so we have been good partners with those governments over the last decade. So that's another part of how we think it's going to evolve. And we're also looking to grow. As I said, things were going really well. COVID disrupted a lot of things for a lot of people. And so now we are recovering from the COVID disruption. There was 2 years or so after COVID where it felt like people were uncomfortable with travel. Parents were uncomfortable with their kids going too far away. The kids were a little bit uncomfortable, a little nervous about going too far away from home. And I think that has now settled down, and there's more interest in mobility again. And so we are looking to take advantage of this change in the interest in mobility.
So another thing that I wanted to know your thoughts on was how you think sport assessments help international students in getting to know more about the institute they want to go to.
It has been very helpful. You ask about the students. It has also been very helpful for me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I think it's helpful for the students because a lot of times, students don't have enough knowledge about the university, or the United States is a big place.
True.
It's a massive place. There are thousands of institutions.
It's an ocean.
Exactly. Thousands of institutions. There is no way that the student has enough time to do all the research. And we have private and public, and we have college versus university. I mean, there are lots of nuance to the US education system that could be very confusing for somebody who is not in the system.
True.
So I think it's very helpful to clarify for students what exactly we offer, what exactly would be helpful for them. They can ask the questions they have that they and their parents might have. It's really beneficial for the student to be able to sit in front of somebody and ask their questions, feel comfortable. I think it also builds their confidence. You know, a lot of the students their first language is not English. They don't necessarily know how to think in English yet. And so it's a good thing for them to get a chance to practice in front of a stranger, build the confidence to ask exactly what they want to ask. I think that is a very valuable service to the students. It has been good for me too to understand the students, understand what are their concerns, what are their parents' concerns, what are ways that I could go back and find new ways to be helpful to them. Are there anything that we're doing that needs to be fixed or improved that would better serve the students? So
Right.
I think this is beneficial on both ends.
And feedback system is the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
So I think before we conclude, is something we just talked is that you were an international student yourself, which I did not know. If you could give us an overview of how your journey has been, or what are some of the hurdles, or what are some of the learnings that you've received out of this?
Yeah. So I grew up in Jamaica.
Okay.
And I did my bachelor's in Jamaica. And then I went to the United States to do my master's degree. And before I left Jamaica, I'd applied to University of Cambridge.
Okay.
I was accepted to do my master's at University of Cambridge.
Oh, wow.
But I had a professor who was encouraging me to do my master's in the United States. And his influence led me to apply to the United States. Went to the United States, did my master's degree, and then I had another professor. She was from Argentina, and she kept encouraging me to do my PhD. So I went on and did my PhD at the encouragement of this professor. And then I continued working in the United States. And I've been in the United States now for a combined total of maybe 30 years, about 30 years.
Really? You don't know that old?
I'm old. I've been there for almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And I will say that it is the best decision that I've ever made. If I were 23 years old again, I would do it again. It was the most consequential thing I've ever done. I like the fact that the United States focus on people's merit. It focuses on what contribution you can bring to the company or to the university or whatever setting. And it values open thought, open communication, and that's been really a fantastic journey for me.
The freedom of speech.
Exactly. That freedom is really fantastic. It's been a fantastic journey for me, and I would do it again if I had a chance.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I think we'll wrap up now. Thank you for joining us. If you have some final thoughts you may want to share.
What I would say to students is just spend a little time, whichever institution you're applying to, Cal State San Marcos or some other institution, spend a little time and do a little research. Take a look at the curriculum, take a look at the programs, take a look at the faculty research, and decide whether or not this institution is a right fit institution for you. And also feel free to reach out to people. We are not, afraid or bothered when a student reach out and say, I'm considering applying to your institution. Here's a question I have. Or I've noticed that you're doing research in this area. I'm interested in this. Tell me a little bit more. How could this might fit in for me? All of those things are fine. Be as brave as possible. Be as bold as possible. Say what it is that you're trying to accomplish. That is very valued in the United States.
And I've always been a believer of you shouldn't be afraid to humiliate yourself if you're learning something out of it.
Exactly. Yes. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Don't be shy. We have all embarrassed ourselves at some point. You will not die.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Godfrey, for coming over. I've definitely learned a lot of things from you in an hour or so of our session.